Before the Battle of Kurukshetra begins, the most dangerous warrior on either side is not Arjuna. He is not Bhishma. He is not Drona. He is a man the world calls a charioteer's son, born of a god, raised by servants, cursed by his teachers, abandoned by his own mother. And when he is finally offered a throne, a kingdom, and the love of his brothers, he refuses, because he will not betray the only man who ever believed in him. This is the story of Karna, and it will break your heart. In ancient India, a young princess named Kunti receives a boon from the sage Vyasa. She can call upon any god she chooses and bear his child. Curious, perhaps reckless, she invokes Surya, the sun god, while still a maiden. Surya appears, and Karna is born. He arrives in the world with something no other human has ever had. Fused to his very skin, golden divine armor, the Kavacha, and gleaming earrings of divine light, the Kundala. These are not gifts, they are part of him. As long as he wears them, he cannot be killed. Kunti panics. She is unmarried, a princess. The child cannot exist. She places her newborn son in a basket and sets him adrift on the river. Think about that for a moment. The most noble man in the Mahabharata enters the world being thrown away. He is found by Adhiratha and Radha, a charioteer and his wife. They have no children. They raise this radiant golden boy as their own. They love him completely, and he loves them. For the rest of his life, no matter what anyone says, Karna calls Radha his mother. But the world will never let him forget what it thinks he is. Years pass. Karna grows into a warrior of extraordinary ability. He trains obsessively. He surpasses everyone around him. He wants one thing: to be recognized as the equal of the finest warriors of his age. The moment comes at the tournament of Hastinapur. Arjuna dazzles the crowd. And then Karna walks forward. He matches every single thing Arjuna has done, shot for shot, feat for feat. The crowd is stunned. Who is this man? And then Kripa, the royal teacher, asks the question that will define Karna's life. What is your lineage? A prince may only compete against princes. Karna has no answer. And then, something unexpected happens. Duryodhana, the eldest Kaurava prince, stands up in front of the entire assembly. He takes off his own crown, and he places it on Karna's head. He declares Karna the king of Anga on the spot. Now, Duryodhana says, he is a king. Can he compete? In that moment, Karna's loyalty to Duryodhana is sealed forever. Not because he is manipulated, not because he is naive, but because one man, in front of everyone, chose to see him. That single act of recognition will bind them together across a war that neither of them can survive. Karna wants to become the finest archer alive. To do that, he must learn from Parashurama, the most formidable teacher in the world. But Parashurama has made a vow. He will only teach Brahmins. So Karna does something he will regret forever. He lies. He disguises himself as a Brahmin and presents himself to the master. Parashurama accepts him. For years, Karna trains on Mahendra mountain and learns the Brahmastra, the most devastating weapon in existence. One afternoon, Parashurama rests with his head on Karna's lap. An insect burrows into Karna's thigh. The pain is excruciating. Blood flows freely, but Karna does not move, does not flinch, does not make a single sound. He will not wake his teacher. Parashurama wakes to find blood soaking his robes. He looks at Karna and knows immediately. No Brahmin could bear this pain in silence. You are a Kshatriya. The curse arrives without mercy. The knowledge you have stolen from me, the Brahmastra, will desert you at the moment you need it most. When your life depends on it, you will not remember how to invoke it. Karna accepts without protest. He does not beg, he does not argue. He simply bows. This is who Karna is. Even when the universe strikes him down, he does not break. But the universe is not finished. On another day, Karna's chariot wheel crushes a calf belonging to a Brahmin. The grief-stricken Brahmin curses him with terrifying precision. In your greatest battle, your chariot wheel will sink into the earth, and you will be slain. Two curses, both aimed at the same moment, as if the world itself is writing Karna's ending before he can. There is a reason history remembers Karna as Danvir, the greatest giver who ever lived. It is said Karna never refused anyone who came to him with an honest request. Not once, not ever. The ultimate test comes from Indra, king of the gods and father of Arjuna. Indra knows Karna's Kavacha and Kundala make him impossible to kill, so he disguises himself as an old Brahmin. Give me your armor. Give me your earrings. Karna knows it is Indra. He knows what giving them away means. It means death. It means the one thing that has always protected him, the one thing his father gave him at birth, will be gone. He cuts the Kavacha from his own skin. He removes the Kundala from his own ears. He hands them over, bleeding, smiling. Not out of naivety, out of principle. Surya himself had appeared to warn him. Karna knew exactly what he was giving up. He gave anyway. How do you defeat a man like that? Before we reach Karna's death, we need to understand exactly what was being dismantled. Because the Mahabharata makes something clear, and it makes it through the words of Krishna himself, the only god who never praises without reason. On the night Ghatotkacha dies, Bhima's half-demon son, tearing through the Kaurava army with powers no human weapon could stop, Krishna turns to Arjuna. His eyes are bright. His expression is not grief. It is relief. He had deliberately sent Ghatotkacha into the battle. At night, when a demon's power is at its peak, he had known exactly what would follow. Duryodhana would beg Karna to use the Vasava Shakti, the divine lance given by Indra, usable only once. The weapon Karna had been saving his entire life, to kill Arjuna. And then Krishna says it plainly. There is not a man on earth that could stand before Karna with that weapon in his possession. Even with my Sudarshana discus, I could not. God himself, admitting that Karna, with his full arsenal, was a man the world had no answer for. Karna knew what had happened. He confronted Krishna directly. You sent that demon to exhaust my weapon. You engineered this." Krishna did not deny it. Now consider what Karna does in his final 2 days of battle, stripped of his most powerful weapon, but not yet of his dignity. On day 13, 16-year-old Abhimanyu entered the Chakravyuha alone and dismantled the Kaurava army. He defeated Drona. He defeated Ashvatthama. He fought Karna, and Karna retreated. A 16-year-old drove Karna from the field. Only then, on Drona's instruction, did Karna return. He came from behind and cut the boy's bowstring. The final blow was delivered by Dushasana's son, while Abhimanyu fought on the ground with a chariot wheel as his last weapon. Dushasana, the same man who had dragged Draupadi by her hair in the assembly hall. His son completed what his father had begun, one act of adharma breeding the next. Karna entered the fight after the circle had already closed, on Drona's instruction, and struck from behind. Context does not change what it was. The text does not excuse it. Neither should we. But consider what he does with his mercy. On days 16 and 17, Karna defeats every Pandava except Arjuna in open battle. To Yudhishthira, terrified, unarmed, ready to die, Karna touches the tip of his bow to the king's chest and says, "I don't think men like you should be fighting on a battlefield when I am here. Go back to your wife." To Bhima, "With all this muscle, what will you do? Like a bull you have grown. I could take your head if I wanted. But what is the use of taking the head of a child? Go." To Nakula and Sahadeva, both twins dismissed the same way. 2 words each. Go home. 4 times he could have ended the war. 4 times he chose a promise over a victory. 4 times he sent brothers home alive who did not know they were his brothers. Then, before the final duel even begins, Arjuna kills Karna's son Vrishasena in battle, in front of his father. Karna watches his son fall. He does not retreat. He does not stop. He turns toward Arjuna. To defeat him, the universe had to take everything. Twice. And still he came. There is one man in Karna's story who towers over all the others. Not Krishna, not Arjuna, not even Duryodhana. It is Bhishma, the grand patriarch of the Kuru dynasty. And their relationship is one of the most misunderstood in the entire Mahabharata. From the very beginning, Bhishma treats Karna with contempt, public, deliberate, unrelenting contempt. When Bhishma is appointed commander of the Kaurava forces, he ranks every warrior by ability. The greatest generals receive their titles with honor. And then he reaches Karna. He calls him an Ardharatha, a half-charioteer, not even a full warrior rating. Karna erupts. "What wrong have I done that you always demean me like this? I believe you are actually the enemy of the Kauravas in the guise of their friend." He makes a vow in front of the entire assembly. As long as Bhishma commands the Kaurava army, Karna will not fight. The finest warrior on either side removes himself from the war's opening because of one man's words. For 10 days, Karna watches from the sidelines. 10 days of war, 10 days of dying men and burning fields, 10 days of silence while Bhishma commands. On day 10, Arjuna finally brings Bhishma down. The invincible patriarch of the Kuru dynasty falls from his chariot. He does not die immediately. He chooses to wait, lying on his bed of arrows, for the auspicious moment to leave the world. That night, when the armies have retreated and the battlefield is quiet, a single figure approaches. He sends away the guards. He kneels, and with a voice choked in tears, he falls at Bhishma's feet. It is Karna. "O chief of the Kurus, I am Radha's son, the one you looked upon with hate." Bhishma slowly opens his eyes. He asks the guards to leave. And then, the patriarch of the Kuru dynasty itself embraces Karna with one arm, like a father embracing his son. "I bear thee no malice, Karna, not a single moment of it. It was only to diminish your energy, to keep you from this battlefield, that I used such harsh words against you. You are in every way equal to Arjuna. I have always known this." Bhishma tells Karna the rest. He had always known who Karna truly was, the eldest son of Kunti. He had spent years deliberately goading him, keeping him from the earliest battles, because if Karna fought from day one, the destruction would be beyond recovery. He was not Karna's enemy. He chose to carry the weight of Karna's hatred, silently, alone, to try to limit what was coming. Then Bhishma asks Karna to join the Pandavas, end the war, be who he truly is. Karna's expression hardens. He will not leave Duryodhana. Karna touches Bhishma's feet one final time and walks back toward the Kaurava camp. It is the last conversation between them. The night before the war of Kurukshetra, Krishna comes to Karna alone. Krishna knows everything. He knows Karna is the eldest son of Kunti, which means Karna is the eldest Pandava, senior to Yudhishthira, senior to Arjuna, the rightful heir to everything. And then Krishna makes an offer that would rewrite history. "Come to us, Karna. I will reveal who you truly are. Yudhishthira will step aside. You will be king. Every insult, every rejection, undone. Tonight." And Karna says no. "Krishna, where was all of this when I was called a charioteer's son? When I was humiliated in front of the kingdom? One man stood up for me. One man gave me a crown when I had nothing. His name is Duryodhana. I will not abandon him. Not for a throne, not for the world." He pauses. "I know what you are doing, Krishna. I know what will happen to me. I know I am on the side that will lose. Tell me, knowing all of this, would you have me be someone who betrays the man who saved him?" Krishna has no answer. 2 days before the war, a woman comes to Karna's tent. He recognizes her immediately. He has always known who she is. She is Kunti, his mother. The woman who put him in a basket and set him adrift on a river. She tells him the truth, that she is his mother, that he is her firstborn. She asks him not to fight his brothers. Karna listens to everything. Then he speaks quietly. "You come to me now, after all these years, not to be my mother, but to protect your other sons." Silence. "I will not join the Pandavas, but I will give you a promise. You have 5 sons. After this war, you will still have 5 sons. I will not kill any of them, except Arjuna. If I kill Arjuna, you still have 5, the 4 brothers and me. If Arjuna kills me, you still have 5. Kunti weeps and reaches for his feet. Karna gently steps back, not in anger, in grief. He has just guaranteed his own death, and he has done it to comfort the woman who abandoned him. After Karna falls, Krishna gathers the Pandavas around him. Arjuna is weeping, and Krishna says something that stops everyone. "Why do you take responsibility for killing a dead serpent, Arjuna? Karna was already dead. He was killed 6 times before your arrow touched him."
6 curses, 6 betrayals, each one placed at a different point in Karna's life, all activating together in the same catastrophic moment on day 17. The first, his birth. Divine armor fused to his skin, the one thing that made him invincible. His own mother set him adrift on the river, and with him, the one thing that could have protected him forever. The second, his teacher. Parashurama's curse ensured the Brahmastra would vanish from his memory at the exact moment he reached for it. He tried. He found nothing. The third, Indra. The divine armor cut from his skin, the earrings torn from his ears, surrendered willingly to an enemy god in disguise, because Karna could never refuse someone who asked. The fourth, his own mother's love, delivered 20 years too late. Kunti's promise extracted the one strategy that could have ended the war early. He had defeated 4 Pandavas on the battlefield and released every one, honoring words spoken to a woman who had never been his mother until it served her other sons. The fifth betrayal is the one nobody talks about. Shalya, the king of Madra, uncle to Nakula and Sahadeva, was appointed Karna's charioteer by Duryodhana. It seemed like an honor. What Duryodhana did not know was that Shalya had already made a private agreement with Krishna before the war began. He would serve as Karna's charioteer, and he would destroy him from inside the chariot. For 2 full days, Shalya did exactly that, praising Arjuna, sowing doubt, giving wrong advice on the Nagastra, and when the chariot wheel sank into the earth, sitting motionless, watching. The sixth, the Brahmin's curse, the earth herself, opening at the worst possible moment to swallow the wheel of a man who had never done anything to deserve it. 6 betrayals, spread across an entire lifetime, all closing in together on a single afternoon. Arjuna did not defeat Karna. Arjuna was simply the last in a line of 6. And yet, through all 6, Karna never stopped being Karna.
The wheel sinks into the earth. Karna climbs down from the chariot, unarmed, exposed. And then he does something that no one, not in this war, not in any war before it, has done at the moment of their own death. He appeals to Dharma. This is a Dharma. A warrior does not strike a man who is unarmed. Give me a moment to free the wheel. Then we fight. And here, in the most philosophically devastating moment of the entire Mahabharata, Krishna speaks. Where was your Dharma when Abhimanyu was surrounded by 6 warriors and killed without a chariot or a bow? Where was your Dharma when Draupadi was dragged into the assembly hall? You speak now of rules. Which rules were you following then? Karna bends his head. He says nothing. Then he climbs back onto the chariot, picks up his bow, and fires one last arrow at Arjuna. It stuns the finest archer alive, momentarily. Then Karna climbs back down to try the wheel again, still fighting, even now, even here. The famous exchange that millions of people across India know and love, where Karna asks Krishna, "Was it my fault I was born this way?" And Krishna responds by listing his own suffering, is not in Vyasa's original text. It is a later retelling, a poet's attempt to give both men the conversation the original only implies. But it captures something true. Here are 2 people who both know suffering from birth. One bent it toward victory. One absorbed it in silence. What the primary text confirms is this:
Krishna never denies Karna's courage. He never says Karna was not the most formidable warrior of his age. He says Karna fought on the wrong side. He says Karna made choices that caused suffering. Both of these things are also true. And so here is the question the Mahabharata leaves unanswered, and has left unanswered for 3,000 years. Was Krishna right? Was it dharma to strip a man of his armor, his weapons, his teacher's knowledge, his charioteer's loyalty, the earth itself? To engineer every disadvantage and then fire the arrow while he was on his knees? Or was it the only way to stop a man who, even stripped of everything, remained beyond reach? The Mahabharata does not answer this. It never does. It gives you both sides, in full, and leaves you with the weight of it. That weight is the point. Day 17 of the Kurukshetra war. Karna and Arjuna face each other at last. The battle is ferocious. Two of the most feared archers ever born, matched completely. Karna cuts Arjuna's bowstring. Arjuna restrings it. Karna cuts it again. 12 times. 12 times Arjuna restrings it without missing a beat. And then the earth opens. The wheel of Karna's chariot sinks into the ground. He tries to invoke the Brahmastra. He reaches into his mind for what he spent years learning. He finds nothing. Parashurama's curse, taking exactly what it came to take. He tries to free the wheel. The earth will not release it. Arjuna's arrow flies. Karna falls. The sun, Surya himself, Karna's father, is said to have dimmed. Why does Karna break us? Because he is not a villain who becomes good. He is not a hero who always makes the right choices. He is something far rarer and far more human. He is a good man to whom the world was consistently, deliberately, catastrophically unfair. And he responded to every injustice not with bitterness, but with more generosity, more loyalty, and more dignity than anyone around him. Born of a god, abandoned by his mother, rejected by a kingdom, cursed by his teachers, hated by the man who secretly loved him, offered everything he ever wanted, and refusing it because he would not betray the man who chose him. After the war ended, when the Pandavas finally learned who Karna truly was, Yudhishthira was so shattered that he cursed all women everywhere to never be able to keep a secret again, because a woman's silence had cost him his eldest brother. In death, Karna became what he never was in life: acknowledged. This is why, thousands of years later, millions of people still say, Karna was the greatest of them all. Not because he won, but because of who he chose to be while he was losing. If this story stayed with you, subscribe to the Vedic Vault. We tell stories like this with the depth they deserve. And tell me in the comments, was Krishna justified? Or did victory come at too high a cost? I want to read every single one of your answers.